Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, a man has been pulled to safety after driving his car into the water off Constitution Dock. In a dramatic rescue, a local fisherman is being credited with helping save the man's life.
With the aid of emergency services by his side, the driver of a Nissan Ute is lucky to be alive after a heart-stopping crash into the water at Constitution Dock. A family could only watch on as they saw the entire incident unfold.
And we were just looking out the window and heard all these bangs and crashes and looked out and literally saw a car just go off the road through a bollard, through over the water and into the water, and it sunk within seconds.
A local fisherman saw the car rapidly sinking and quickly came to the rescue.
Heard the brakes screech, the bang, and jumped off the boat and ran around and saw the ute in the water. Didn't even think twice about it, just jumped in and peeled the windscreen out of the ute and dragged the bloke out.
Taking less than 30 seconds to pull him from the water.
He'd already started to kick the windscreen out of it, and there was probably a gap about 120, 150 mil. I just grabbed it and cut my hand a little bit, and so pulled him out of it and got him in a life ring, and they took him in the ambulance.
Police say the driver was shaken up, sustaining minor injuries and taken to the Royal Hobart Hospital for treatment. But just how the crash occurred remains unclear.
We're still yet to speak to the driver at length as to what may have caused the accident, and until we find those details out, won't be able to piece together what actually happened.
A positive ending to what could have been a tragedy. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmanian News.
Now to a developing story as Tasmania's Premier receives treatment in hospital tonight for a mystery illness. Our reporter Ainsley Kosh has the details. Ainsley, do we know what happened?
Good evening, Kim. Acting Premier Jeremy Rockcliffe has issued a statement earlier today informing us that Premier Peter Gutwein became unwell while at his office a little earlier. He was admitted to hospital here in Hobart where he's been undergoing a number of tests and is receiving treatment for a number of days. So far it's unknown how he fell ill, but he will sit out of Parliament this week, which isn't great timing for the Premier given the budget bills need to be passed in this week's sittings. And we've been informed there will be an update on the Premier's condition and his return to work later this week, Kim.
Well, a cigarette butt has caused a fire on a back porch in Georgetown. It happened this morning. Fire investigators determining the butt was discarded inside a plastic bin at midnight and smouldered until the bin caught alight just before 7. The occupant of the Mary Street property closed doors from the porch to the main house, which authorities say helped reduce fire and smoke damage. Firefighters are reminding Tasmanians to ensure all cigarette butts are fully extinguished before binning them. The fire caused around $40,000 damage. Locally, Clarence City Council will tonight vote on a motion mandating vaccinations for councillors. If the motion proposed by Tony Mulder passes, all current aldermen will need to provide evidence of being fully jabbed by November 30.
I think it's important that as community leaders we add our voice to the calls for the vaccination rollout so that we can get away from lockdowns.
The requirement would also apply to any councillors elected in the future. Advocates are calling for more rehabilitation strategies to tackle Tasmania's skyrocketing recidivism rate. Community organisations now implementing their own programs, looking to source work opportunities and classes to help mental health.
Painting a better life isn't easy for those stuck in the justice system, but attendees here at Kickstart Arts are being given classes in acrylics, animation and watercolour painting.
To help them develop some tools to deal with stress and anxiety rather than self-medication.
The organisation is now running sessions for Tasmanians on community correction orders. 12 people, often with high needs or battling addiction and trauma, visit each day of operation.
One of the participants actually said the third time that they'd been here that it actually prevented them from using when they were stressed out. So that's just a very honest response.
47% of Tasmanians released from prison are back behind bars within 2 years. That's up 7% in the last 5 years.
We know that our recidivism rate is far too high and we can only address that through programs that intervene and ensure that we're rehabilitating.
But advocates say more needs to be done. One pilot program is matching returning citizens with employers.
To be able to give them the foundation skills that they need to be able to engage really well in a workplace and to build the confidence of future employers.
The TCCI is supporting the initiative by sourcing potential employers, acknowledging business has a role to play.
We still have grave barriers in relation to ensuring that all Tasmanians, are able to access the sorts of help that they need.
When we engage and connect and show confidence and trust, then actually what we see are people that really fundamentally want to change their lives, for the most part.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Kingston High students have today thrown their support behind Legacy as part of their major annual fundraiser. These students joining forces with volunteers at Channel Court Shopping Centre as part of Badge Week. Despite the last major world war ending 76 years ago, the organisation is still expanding.
Living in Tasmania and not come to Legacy yet are 10,500 veterans. So in time, all of those will come to Legacy.
We think of all the military people who passed away and so many families affected by that.
The Southern Tasmania branch currently supports 710 widows. Schools across the state are being taught about the importance of skin cancer prevention as part of the Run from the Sun awareness campaign. 2 Tasmanian volunteers creating the program after their own experiences of the disease. They're hoping to stop melanoma being the second most common cancer diagnosed in the state.
A terminal melanoma diagnosis forced Ken Harris to have the toughest conversation of his life.
One of the hardest parts of the whole process was going to my parents and actually telling my parents that, unlike what they would expect, that they would pass away before them. My dad, I'd never seen him cry until that point, and he was what I believe to be a very strong man.
But having been cleared of cancer, he's now dedicated to educating young Tasmanians of the need to be aware of the dangers basking in the sun poses through the Run from the Sun program.
In 2013, I was told that I had a limited life expectancy, that I was not expected to live more than a few months from that point. I have, so why shouldn't I give back?
Di Mason founded Skin Cancer Tasmania, which runs the awareness campaign after losing her mother to melanoma just 8 weeks from when she was first diagnosed.
None of us knew how devastating melanoma could be.
With high numbers of young people diagnosed.
Well, melanoma is the most common cancer diagnosed in 15 to 39-year-olds. So for us, it's the perfect opportunity to target those in secondary schools who are just heading into those dangerous years.
And students giving positive feedback.
It was really helpful. I learnt a lot that I didn't know.
The Run from the Sun campaign will be coming to schools across the state over the next 2 weeks, with a motorbike ride this weekend raising vital funds for Skin Cancer Tasmania. Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
The Tasmania Jack Jumpers squad is starting to come together, with another star player emerging from quarantine today ahead of the inaugural season. Sam McDaniels is enjoying life as a father as he prepares to follow in the footsteps of his own dad.
He's played many important roles on the basketball court, but off it, Sam McDaniels is settling into a position way more important. The guard is the proud parent of a 5-month-old son, with his first Father's Day just around the corner. He says parenting changed his perspective on life.
A big sigh of relief to come home and see the little one smiling and kind of forget about basketball for a little bit and realise that, it's what I do, but it's just a game.
Sam has been playing in Victoria, where he enjoyed a championship with Melbourne United and success in the NBL 1, something he wants the Jack Jumpers to have.
Obviously like to be competitive from the jump, that's always the goal. Winning championships is always the end goal.
He is no stranger to Tasmania, with his partner also from the state. His dad also made an impact on the local basketball scene. Wayne McDaniels was a cult hero for the Hobart Devils in the NBL's halcyon days of the 80s and 90s.
Seen a little bit of tape, a little bit of film of some of the stuff he was able to do. I think it's just a cool story, really, to come back and play in the same place he played.
Although his style will be a little different.
He's, saying hi to everyone on the street. That's just his personality, and I'm a bit more of an introvert, a bit quieter, a bit more to myself.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmanian News.
If you can sing, play an instrument or are in a band, the City of Hobart wants to hear from you. The council has developed a permanent busking and street performance program. It follows a 6-month trial that ended in March, which attracted more than 120 applications. The free permit will allow performers across 25 venues in the council area.
It becomes part of a community and we become involved in that community process. And I think that's really important as we try to support the cultural and arts sector.
In this COVID day, we can't do it unless we have supportive councils to give us the locations.
Applications can be made on the council's website. A touch of Bollywood came to the Botanical Gardens today as part of an independent movie that has been 2 years in the making. This Indian-inspired dance sequence forms part of the film Balding, about a young actor whose life begins to unravel when his hair starts to fall out.
The film is very satirical, so there is chaos everywhere, like Doctor turning into a giant panda, him having a nightmare sequence, waking up in a bathtub full of hair. There's just Bollywood sequence, everything going on.
The project has been filmed across Tasmania with the help of 190 volunteers.
North Launceston coach Brad Cox-Goodger has commended his side's resilience in its come-from-behind victory against Launceston in the TSL semi-final. The Baby Bombers fought back from 3 goals down early in the piece to beat the Blues for the second time this year.
To give the young guys belief in a final like that to stand up against a very experienced side should give them great confidence going into the grand final.
Cox-Goodger says his side is headed for a tough week on the track as they wait to see who they'll face in the grand final. The fate of the NPL Tasmania title could be decided this week when Devonport and Glenorchy clash. The mouth-watering fixture has huge implications. A Glenorchy win would take the title race to the last round, while a Strikers win will seal another championship.
If you trust in the process and just go through the standard weekly routine and just focus on the task at hand, then hopefully everything falls into place.
Meanwhile, Launceston United could finish in the Women's Super League top 3 if it beats Olympia this week.
We've had some good battles with them, including the cup final. The girls are very keen to knock them off.
And that match takes place on Saturday afternoon.
Good evening. 17 in Hobart today, 15 across Launceston and Burnie, and Devonport 14. 18 was the state's top at Friendly Beaches, Smithton and St Helens 16 and Ooze 17. On the close-up shows cloud building from the west. Further out, middle-level cloud can be seen over New South Wales with low-level cloud over Queensland. Tomorrow a cold front will cross Tasmania with another front to form to the south of WA. North to northwesterly winds tomorrow, 25 to 35 knots about the west, south and east. Swells up to 6 metres in the west and south and up to 1 metre in the north. A gale warning is current for eastern, southern and western coastal waters from St Helens Point to Stanley, and a strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters including Storm Bay, Frederick Henry, Norfolk Bays, the Central Plateau and the Southwest Lakes. Tomorrow's forecast now: Hobart and Adventure Bay, showers developing 13 at Tarraleah. In the north, showers and 15 about Launceston and Devonport, 16 in Bridport. Wind and showers right across Burnie, Strawn and Marrawar. St Helens 17 and 18 about Swansea and Whitemark. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast: Wednesday, early morning showers about the west and far south. Thursday, fine and warm. And Friday, showers about the north and west extending throughout the morning. Capital cities 21 and showers easing in Perth tomorrow. Adelaide mostly sunny and Darwin a sunny 34. And currently Hobart cloudy and 14, Launceston and Devonport cloudy and 12. That's all for weather tonight, Kim.
Thank you, Jackie. Looks like a mixed bag up in front of us. Thanks very much. That is tonight's news. On behalf of the team, thanks for joining us tonight. Have a good night.